All right, all right. Well, we're gonna hop right into the pod today. We got a handful of things to talk about. We're gonna start with we'll go through them real quick. Merrillville is doing a data center moratorium. They just passed that in the last week. They're going to do a year moratorium. We're going to talk about that. Get an update for the Lake County Convention Center in Gary. Recent approvals in the last 2 weeks and what's happened. And then Franklin Street Tower, which is a 12-story high-rise being built in Michigan City. Luxury high-rise, beautiful building. We're going to go through that. It's almost done. We're going to talk about interest rates, and we're going to talk about how foreclosures are on the rise. So we're going to go through that. So let's start with the data center moratorium. We had a lot of conversations from the data center we had talked about in Hobart, as well as the, where was the other one we had discussed? New Carlisle, right? New Carlisle. Is that what, or what's the one? Yeah, New Carlisle. Out east.
Yes.
That's where they made it first. And then they did the $15 billion, Amazon did $15 billion investment in Hobart. So in the last week, this was May 28th. So Thursday, May 28th, Merrillville approves a one-year data center. What's up, Jack Cryle? 1-year data center moratorium in the town of Merrillville. Merrillville Town Council. This is a Indiana Economic Digest.net story. Merrillville Town Council placed a moratorium on data center projects during their Tuesday night meeting that will take effect June 1st through May 31st, 2027, to assess how a possible data center could impact infrastructure, utilities, traffic, noise, economic development, tax revenue, and neighborhood compatibility. The motion of the moratorium proposed by Councilman Sean Pettit passed unanimously. Some residents in the audience stood and clapped. This is a quote, "Good government means making informed decisions based on facts and experience," from Council President Rick Bella. This moratorium allows Merrillville to gather valuable information so future decisions are made thoughtfully and in the best long-term interest of our residents. So when we talked last podcast about data centers, there's a lot of question marks. What does it do to the water? Noise pollution, sound pollution, light pollution. What does it do to the infrastructure? How does it impact utilities? How does it impact all those things? People who live around it, how it impacts their water. There's a lot of question marks with data centers right now, and the amount of utilities and things like that they're taking. And to Gabe's point, NIPSCO saying they're going to pay for the infrastructure and all that. It maybe not. That's not always going to happen. So is it going to increase utility bills? So basically, in this article here, and what Merrillville said was they are says right here they're essentially looking at what's happening with the new Hobart data center. And they're going to watch what happens with that and see how it impacts the community, see how it impacts people and the residents of Merrillville, and then make a decision if they think it's a good thing for them to consider looking at. They said they've had 4 different companies approach them, 4 different occasions to build a data center. And so at this point, they put a moratorium on. They're going to evaluate it and then make a decision from there. Gabe, what are your thoughts?
I love this. I mean, we don't really know. We don't know the long term.
We can tell from your last, which I think all of us are on the same page there.
I tried. Okay, I came in here with a really neutral mindset, and I really tried to find the positives. And every positive I found, it was just, in my opinion, it was debatable. So the fact that they're doing this is awesome. We have the next door neighbor of Hobart who is already building, and we have someone to directly look at and see what's actually happening to the residents. I would love for them to, if they're going to do these, well, put them somewhere where there's no one around. Don't put them in residential areas. But kind of as we were speaking about, they need massive amounts of water, which my guess is they're going to be pulling it from Lake Michigan, and it's pretty built up all around the water in Lake Michigan. So there's really not many other places to go, but I absolutely love that they're putting a pause on it and saying, hey, let's see what happens, which is supposed to end the end of May in 2027. So hopefully we'll get some insight. I don't know.
It's not that long of a time.
I was just about to say, I don't know. Will the data center in Hobart be built? Will we actually be able to get some real data from it by that time? Yeah. I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I like that this is the direction we're going.
I almost feel like maybe having a moratorium first makes it easier for them to extend it. Like if it's in place, they have a year, right? Mm-hmm. And the year comes up, hey, we don't have enough info now. You just extend it. It's probably easier to do that. So maybe a year is just kind of do appease and, because they could go
Start
5 years.
somewhere.
Yeah, right. So I love it. I think it's a great idea. It's weird to see them, man. There's a lot of videos that are kind of eerie, when you watch like these small towns that like have, so, and what happens to the people. So I think that it's smart. They said town representatives have been approached 4 times by developers interested in building data centers within town limits. Bella, who's the president, said they plan to watch how the data center situation has unfolded in Hobart, where officials have sparred with residents over issues of environmental, quality of life, traffic impacts, among others. It may ultimately provide Merrillville leaders with valuable information necessary to make a more informed and educated decision for our residents and our future, Bella said during the council meeting. Let's see. Most of the people who were there, very happy about this. All that being said, there was a resident who said that he doesn't understand necessarily why. He said he was disappointed in the decision. He believed that a data center could provide more economic opportunities and that, quote, no one was crying when other factories, warehouses, and other commercial developments were put in place in Lake County. It's not a bad point. No one was crying. But the difference is the data center usage of all the utilities and water and what the constant humming of these buildings and how much power it takes to run them. I think that's the difference. And that's what people are concerned with.
Yeah. I
like how I said, no one was crying.
No one was crying. Let's put them up. But, I know with Amazon, one of the big positives that I was reading with that data center is that they were going to pay $1 billion to NIPSCO to help build up the infrastructure specifically for their building. What about these other data centers? Mm-hmm. Are all of these data centers going to then pay NIPSCO to keep expanding? How much can NIPSCO expand? How long is that actually going to take? Will we be affected with higher bills until they expand? Because I can't imagine that they can just expand infinitely as more and more data centers come in. So there's got to be a point where they're like, hey, I don't know. This is something I would need to look into, but that was one of the big positives with the Amazon data center. We're going to help pay for the infrastructure ourselves. I'm not seeing that proposed with the other data centers, but maybe I'm missing it.
No, it is interesting how that was a big, like, oh, NIPSCO, good news, we're going to do it. So on the other ones, it's not talked about. Does that mean residents are paying for it? Probably. I don't have any other thoughts here. You good?
Yeah, I'm good on this one.
Cool. We'll be talking about data centers, I'm sure. It seems like Northwest Indiana is a hot spot. Last thing I'll say about this, actually, I do have one more thing. Indiana itself is very pro data center. Because if you look at the legislation down in Indianapolis legislation has benefits and subsidies and tax benefits to all of the developers of the cost and to buy the materials to build data centers. There's subsidies for that. There's discounts for that. There's tax benefits for that. So Indiana right now is very much like pro data center. I think it's because just purely economics, right? Hey, we added this many jobs, this many, built this much, did this much dollar revenue. And I get it, but at the same time, man, I'm surprised how pro Indiana is for it, knowing what Indiana's like as a whole. Usually they're a very not in my backyard kind of state.
So I will get a little bit into the weeds here.
Put the tinfoil hat on.
Yeah, put it on.
Yo, we need one right here.
And I've said this in the last one. I believe that a lot of the politicians, they like the headlines. Mm-hmm. This is what we're bringing. It's debatable. Everything you said is debatable. Is it going to bring tax revenue? How long is it going to take? Are they getting tax abatements? What's actually happening? Yep. A lot of that stuff we don't actually see. So I hate to go down the political rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But honestly, it doesn't matter left or right. I don't necessarily trust them as much when they say something is a good thing. It might be good for them.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, there's a lot of politicians, this is my opinion, where it's more about what's good for them and not necessarily what's good for the people that they're representing. And I know I'll get backlash for that. Once again, that's my opinion.
Lake County Convention Center. We'll move on right there, baby. We need a tinfoil hat, though, because we're going to start, and we'll put it on when we make some wild statements. I think we're on the way there. Convention Center. So this is a NWI Times story. Lake County Convention Center. This was May 21st, so just about 2 weeks ago. Convention Center construction near Hard Rock Casino in northern Indiana set to begin next year. So it looks like they're going to start in 2027. Lake County Board of Commissioners plans to keep a close eye on design and construction of a new convention center set to be built adjacent to the Hard Rock Casino in northern Indiana and Gary. 3 commissioners unanimously approved the development agreement Wednesday that would require Gary officials to participate in monthly progress meetings with the county executive during the design and bid phases of the project, along with providing quarterly written reports once construction is underway. 13-page agreement makes clear responsibility for bringing the facility to fruition rests on the City of Gary and the Hard Rock, which the commissioners selected a year ago to host a convention center. Let's see. But it gives the commissioners an opportunity to request reasonable modifications to the design plans, review the bidding process, be advised of any change orders, and sign off on the final product by adopting an acknowledgement of satisfaction. It's a good step, said Commissioner Mike Repay out of Hammond. It took a bit longer than we expected, but it's good to see the project going now. Agreement must still be approved by Gary Mayor Eddie Melton, take effect. Melton, when he was state senator, sponsored the 2023 state law that gave the commissioners a key role in the development of the convention center. So seems pretty likely he's going to approve that. Looks like a gorgeous building, all steel and a glass building. It's a $137 million projection for 145,000 square foot glass and steel convention center on 29th Avenue, just west of Burr Street on the exit ramp of 8094. Building will be jointly owned by Lake County Convention Center Authority, City of Gary, and operated by the Hard Rock, which Hard Rock also plans to construct a 300-room hotel linked to both the casino and the convention center. Here's a kind of a rendering of that. We'll throw that in the pod and in the video. Thoughts, Gabe? What are your thoughts on this, man? As a Calumet Township Gary guy.
I mean, hey, I love it. I know it's going to bring a lot of positive impact to the real estate area around here. We saw it with the Hard Rock Casino.
Yep.
2 years ago, I actually sold a home. It was a longtime friend. It was his mother. It was about 2 miles away from the Hard Rock Casino. And a lot of the interest we got, people were speculating about the convention center and asking me, hey, are they going to build a convention center? I said, do your own research. I can't tell you yes or no. I don't know.
Yep.
And I'm not going to tell you yes because I don't want that to impact your decision to make an offer on this home. But it seemed like we were getting a ton of interest in that. And I actually was looking around at some of the property around the Hard Rock Casino, and I noticed that there was a theme of a couple entities that have actually bought up a ton of the land and the houses over there. And my guess is they were waiting for exactly this. So
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some people who are going to absolutely cash out. I don't know exactly where this is. I think it's right across the street from the Hard Rock, right off of Burr.
Yeah.
But there was definitely, like I said, a couple entities that bought a lot of land. So I know in other homes. So I know that that's exactly what they were waiting for. So I know that's going to be good. But even the surrounding area, you're going to have more homes that can be turned into Airbnbs. And I believe that it's going to be just a huge positive impact and bring a lot of people to the area that
Yep.
necessarily wouldn't normally get off
Yep.
over there on Burr Street. And there wasn't much to do before. But now with the Hard Rock and then now adding the convention center with that hotel, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it says, in addition, 2 more hotels, 2 restaurants are planned for the south side of 29th Avenue across from the convention center to supplement the restaurants, bars, gaming, entertainment amenities already available to adults inside the Hard Rock Casino. So maybe it has to do with that entity. The state of Indiana is putting up $100 million to construct the convention center, so long as Gary matches it at $5 million a year over a 20-year period. Gary plans to use a portion of the city's supplemental revenue generated by the casino and $1.5 million a year from Hard Rock to cover. So, yeah, man, I mean, think about this, right? It's 8094. Like, people hear Gary, and if you're not from Northwest Indiana, you hear Gary. Most people know Gary throughout the United States. They know it as bad, right? If there is a company who comes here and they're a regional company out of Chicago and they're going to run, rather than spending whatever it would cost to have a convention in the city, maybe they go here because a lot of their workforce is in Northwest Indiana and they do it in the middle. It's right off 8094 and you get off, you're like, this is Gary? I think a lot of people would be like, this is pretty nice because that Hard Rock's nice and it's right there on 8094. And you're like, it's a Gary address. Yeah, but look at this convention center. Look at these restaurants. Look at this hotel. The Hard Rock is the busiest and, from my understanding, most successful in terms of dollar revenue and money spent casino in the state of Indiana. So it's the busiest. It's the most successful one. You had a convention center there. I could imagine large companies having conventions there and actually running different, like imagine, if it sounds crazy, but like Tom Ferry, who's our coaching platform, ran a regional sales training out of there, right? They may do pretty well. It's just an example of a company that may come in and, so I think it's pretty cool what they could do there. And I think that people would show up to Gary and be like, okay, and surrounding areas, definitely from an Airbnb perspective, will crush. We've had some pretty decent B-level talent there. Didn't Kevin Hart perform there?
Yep.
Yeah, Kevin Hart was there. I went to a Pitbull
They're getting some
concert.
big acts, man. Rod Stewart, baby. Yeah, that's right. They got some solid acts there, man. They're doing a good job. So they keep that up, man. I'm a big fan of this personally. So, all right, we got through a moratorium. Okay. Next, do you have any other thoughts on that, Gabe?
No,
It's pretty cool.
not much.
We'll keep an eye on it as it gets forward, but it looks like it's going to start in 2027. All right, next, South Bend Tribune did a story on luxury apartment tower. Nearly done at Michigan City's South Shore stop. So this is the Franklin Tower. It's a 12-story, 220-unit building located above the South Shore train station. So it sits on the South Shore. Has already reserved over half of its apartments. Officials anticipate the project will boost local economy. Development includes retail space, parking garage, amenities like rooftop lounge, dog park, etc. Construction of the 12-story luxury apartment building on the new South Shore Railroad commuter line train station is nearly complete. This is, let's see, reservations have already been starting for the 220 units on Franklin Street with what's called the Franklin at the 11th Street Station. That's what it's called. Building will also have 5,600 square foot of retail, restaurant space on the main level, 500 parking spaces in the garage. Other amenities include a heated swim and spa, with an adjacent outdoor movie lounge, outdoor rooftop sky lounge providing scenic views of Lake Michigan. Hull said 300 or so people living there will provide another economic boost. So pretty cool. We'll send these photos here. Dude, that's awesome. Like, this is stuff you don't really see in Northwest Indiana. But I will tell you guys this. I have seen over the last 4 years the amount of people who are from the region or also from Chicago who are investing a lot of money in Michigan City is crazy. Every day we see a house in Michigan City come up for sale over $1 million. Every day. There's a house that just sold in Michigan City for $3.2 million, right? Not on the water, by the way. Not on the water. Across the street, close, but not on the water. Gorgeous home. Okay. There are a lot of these things. And then people who are buying stuff like in like LaPorte, Michigan City with land, and stuff. And then you go to like Beach Walk. Dude, if you've never spent a summer day in Beach Walk, go to Beach Walk. Go to Beach Walk. It's freaking awesome. Go rent an Airbnb. One of my buddies owns one, so I'll send you a link if you want it. It is awesome. Rent the Airbnb. You have the amenities. They have I think it's Lake Kai. It's got like pickleball courts, basketball courts, a park, beach, all this. It's got game rooms, all this stuff. And then you walk across the street to the beach and you go back and it looks like you're in like South Carolina because it's got all these cool colored properties. Like Michigan City is doing some good stuff. If they can get rid of that NIPSCO plant like they're talking about, which is apparently supposed to happen, and the jail has already been taken away. So the jail and the NIPSCO plant are the two things about Michigan City. You're like, right? When you think about all that other stuff, you got developments like this, nice homes, the beach. You have a city that has schools, like a place you could live and go to school and so on, and then also get to the city and hop on a train station, hop on the train and get to this, get to Chicago, and then go to the beach. Like Michigan City's pretty cool, man. I really think people should look at it. Helped the client buy 10 homes there last year. They're all investment properties and they've renovated them all. Like there's a lot of people doing stuff in these areas. And when you think about it, it's like from a lifestyle perspective, it's pretty cool, man. I think Michigan City's doing a good job. You see stuff like this. That's a large developer putting money into stuff like this. You don't develop a 12-story building if you haven't done it before. And that's millions and millions of dollars. So anyway, Michigan City's a place to look at. Okay, what do you got?
Yeah, like you said, over the past 4 years, you've been seeing a lot more activity. They finished that South Shore corridor going all the way to Michigan City 2 years ago, where the commute used to be over 2 hours on the train station, but with the new tracks, it's now 65 minutes.
Dude, that's clutch.
That's absolutely well within reason. That's the Millennium Station, so you're in the heart of the city. So this is absolutely going to bring people out a little bit further. I saw that they're now building the first new subdivision in Michigan City in over 50 years.
Wow.
They have close to 2,000 new housing units being built in Michigan City. So I absolutely believe that South Shore spurred all of this. This is the first high-rise oriented, transit-oriented high-rise in the state of Indiana. Obviously, there's a lot in Chicago because there's a lot of tracks with the red lines and all the stations going in and out. But this is one of the first that we're seeing high-rise related in Michigan City. And it's really going to, in my opinion, it's going to make Michigan City blow up. You look at a lot of Northwest Indiana, and once you kind of get a little bit over an hour and 15 minutes from Chicago, things start to be less populated.
Yeah.
But with this making it 65 minutes from Chicago, it's absolutely going to bring in a lot more people.
I think if Michigan City can improve their school rating, okay, their school rating right now is not good. It's like a 3 out of 10, C plus in some areas. If Michigan City can improve their schools, they will absolutely blow up. Because you think about a lifestyle. You live in Michigan City, you can get to the beach, you can get to Chicago on a train in 65 minutes. You have shopping with the outlet malls, you have restaurants, you have a downtown, you have the beaches. You can get to Michigan itself in 30 minutes, maybe. So you can go to New Buffalo in probably 20 minutes, I guess, other places in Michigan, and Chicago in 65 minutes. The only thing slowing them down is their school district, in my opinion. There's other things, I'm sure. There's probably things about parks. I don't know too much about their parks. I don't know too much about, but if they could improve their school district, they will absolutely explode. The only thing holding them back from people being like, yeah, I left Chesterton to live in Michigan City, I left Valpo to live in is the schools. If they can improve their school district and their ratings, they'll crush it.
Maybe I'm off track here, but with all the housing units being built, all the excess property taxes they're going to start pulling in, you would think that they're going to be able to start funding the schools a little bit better with everything that's being built up.
Yep. 100%. Hopefully that's exactly what happens. I'm sure there are a lot of people who will go to these areas, and what they'll do is they'll send their kids to, private schools. La Lumiere is a phenomenal school. Some people may even go as far as like Culver, right? But there's La Lumiere is a great school. There's a handful of private schools out there that you're probably seeing people send their kids to. But that being said, if Michigan City can improve their school ratings and get more people moving here and say, hey, there's good school districts, they will absolutely crush it. We'll finish up with this. We should be under 30 minutes here. Let's start with this. So first, we've got two real estate related conversations to have. One is interest rates. This here shows you guys that mortgage rates currently stand at their lowest level in the last 3 spring home buying seasons. So May of 2024, mortgage rates were about 7.22, so about 7.25%. Last April, they were 6.75%, so down 0.5% from 2024, 2025. Right now, the average in April was 6.3%. Now today, the daily mortgage News Daily is the best place to look. It's closer to 6.5%, but even then, it's the lowest it's been in the last 3 spring home buying seasons. Okay, so if you're somebody who bought, with a 7.25 interest rate, you're probably getting close to maybe a chance to refi if you can get it close down to 1% or maybe a little bit more. We saw 5.99% twice this spring. So we saw it hit under 6% 2 times. Now it's shot back up. It's at 6.5 today. But that is big for the market. And if you look at the difference in just 1 year, what that saves you, look at 7.26, right, in January of 2025, and look at an example of 5.99%. It's a $335 a month savings, right? From 7.25, right? And then from 6.5 down to 6 is, another $150, $140. So paying attention to that is a big indicator of kind of the market. And we've seen the market, I think, pick up in the last couple of days, to be honest with you. And it's very week by week right now. But rates are something to pay attention to, and we're going to consistently be watching this a lot and giving you guys an update on that. Gabe, do you have any takes on the rates?
I think the rates are right where they should be. I mean, when you look at all what the predictions were at the beginning of the year, it kind of averaged out to it would stay flat this year at about 6.3%. We saw it come down to 5.99. We saw it just recently go up to 6.6, within 0.3% of where expectations are. Now it's coming back down to 6.3. So you see a lot of up and down, and you'll see a lot of headlines around it. I don't think that's that big of a swing. And at the end of the day, tell me if I'm wrong. I've told a lot of people, I want to wait until interest rates get to 5.5%. And I said, hey, maybe that will happen in a year. I don't know. But how much money are you going to save over the course of that year, whether you're going to lock in now? So let's say from that example you just showed, you're going to save $300 a month if maybe you get it down to that 5.5. And if that happens in a year, how much equity would you have given up on a home if you bought it now? For instance, we can be super conservative and say, homes are appreciating about 3%. I know it's a little bit higher, but we'll be conservative.
Yep.
On a $300,000 home, if you bought it now, in 1 year, you might have put in $9,000 in equity just on appreciation. Yep. But if you're saving $300 a month, well, then you've saved, what would you rather have, $9,000 in appreciation or save $3,600 in interest rate fees? Yep. And if it does go down 5.5 next year, you always have the ability to refinance, and you still captured some of that equity. This is usually my line of thought. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think timing the market is not the key. It's timing the market. And you've heard that saying before. My wife and I were the benefits of that. Like when we bought our first house, we were not fully ready, but we could do it. And it was time. We did it. It's one of the greatest decisions we ever made. Got us to where we are now with the next home. We rolled 20% into our current house, and that is allowing us to build our next house. It's all because we started with a $160,000 house in 2017 that we barely had the money for, It's just time. It's you can't time the market, man. It's time in it. And you're 100% right. Imagine if someone bought that house for 300 at 6.5% rate, if rates go to 5.5, what's the value of that house? It's easily 315. Maybe even more. When you look at the payment perspective, you pay $315 for it, your monthly payment's probably less than what they paid at $300. So paying 15 grand more, your monthly payment's lower. So these are things to look at. I think that if you're in a situation where you can afford it with what the rates are, it makes sense to buy. If you're planning on moving in 2 years and leaving Northwest Indiana, don't buy a house. But if you're going to be here for the next 5+ years, minimum, buy a house. It makes complete sense to buy a house versus renting. Those are my thoughts. I agree with you on the value perspective. All right, this is clickbait. We're going to clickbait, y'all. Foreclosures are rising. Foreclosure activity is up probably a good 20+% since 2024. Maybe even more, probably closer to 40, 50%. All right, just look at the truth. Foreclosure activity is rising as the market normalizes. Look at this historically. Look at foreclosures pre-2008, during 2008, and now. Foreclosures are historically low. They're rising in comparison to the previous years. But if you look at this graph here, guys, foreclosures, number one, are good for the market. You need them. You can't have zero foreclosures. Okay? That's not healthy. A market needs foreclosures, unfortunately. They have to happen. But historically looking at them, if you see a headline that says foreclosures are up 50%, 80%, whatever, look at this right here and just realize how it's all clickbait just to get you afraid and scared. Foreclosures are up a little bit. Yes, they're up a little bit. But historically speaking, go pre-COVID, look where they're at. They're well over those numbers. And obviously 2008 to 11, 12, 13, all that, there was a lot more. But historically speaking, they are the lowest. This period of time is the lowest in history. So any data like that, if you guys see foreclosures are on the rise and I'm going to buy, it's all BS. It's trying to get you to click and scare you. Okay? You got any thoughts on that, Gabe?
Oh, it's a great headline. You'll see it all the time. It's going to pull people in. No one wants to see foreclosures rising, but during the COVID years, they pretty much almost made it impossible to get foreclosed on. Didn't they pass something that there was
there was a moratorium on foreclosures?
Right.
Yep.
So obviously, when there's a moratorium and you can't be foreclosed on, the only place you can go up after that, or the only way you're going to go up after that is up.
Exactly. But show them this graph. Just say, yeah, man, but they're nowhere near normal levels. That's all we got for this show. Hope you guys hope this is helpful. You got anything else you want to add?
No, that's it.
We need a tinfoil hat for some more. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you guys coming in, and looking forward to doing some more pods. Thanks, guys.